This is the I Read Comic Books podcast, the very best podcast for regular comic book fans. I'm your host, Mike Rapin. Joining me this week, two background characters in Whoville, last in line to receive slices of ham. This week, I'm joined by Nick White.
Felicem Nadvitatem and Fröhliche Weihnachten.
Oh man, I don't like that. And I'm also joined by Kait Lamphere.
Hello. I'm lost.
Listen, this episode is releasing on New Year's or Christmas Eve. We'll have another episode out on New Year's Eve next week. But I'm very excited to be here to talk comic books with the both of you. I want to have a good episode, okay? That's all I'm asking for this Christmas.
This time. Just this once.
Just
once. This is how my dad treated me around the Christmas times. I just want good kids for the holidays, and it was always great. Anyways, I do have a quick announcement before we get into the show. I want to shout out the folks who finished our Goodreads reading challenge that we talked about last week. Congrats to all of you who finished it. I'm very excited to see what book you nominate for us to read in January. So if you did complete the reading challenge, go over to our Goodreads group, find the thread that our good pal Aaron posted, our moderator over there, nominate a book, and then work with the other folks who finish it to select a book for us. Hopefully next year, I think we're going to make things a little bit less complicated around how we're going to pick the book for 2027, but we'll talk about that all in 2026. For now, I have two legally mandated questions that I need to ask. That is, how have you been? How have comic books been? Let's start with you, Kait.
I've been pretty good, a little behind for the holidays, but I'm getting there. I haven't had as much time for comics, unfortunately. I feel like I'm really, my number of books read this month when I'll check my story graph is going to be way down. But I'm still reading comics, still loving comics, still finding good things to read on Hoopla, which is how I'm going to segue into my next book. I found this one on the offbeat Christmas section of Hoopla. This is The Quarry by Mike Salisbury and art by Marvin Luna. This is from Scout Comics. And this is like set during Christmas, but it's kind of about the grief over the death of a teenager. So it's a little bit of a rough read. But it turns out
jolly, yeah. This
is Happy Christmas.
Really rocking
be sad.
Around the Christmas tree here. Yeah, okay.
Turns out that these creators are actually both from West Michigan. The acknowledgement specifically mentions the college that I think all three of us went to college at. So that was really interesting. This comic's also only like 70 pages long, so it was a pretty quick read, but it does a lot with those 70 pages. The plot is about two teens who set out to get a Christmas tree, but then they get there and they can't afford the Christmas tree. So one of the teens is like, hang on a second, we're going to solve this problem. And they go to somebody's front lawn and cut down a Christmas tree.
Nice.
And then it kind of starts getting into what's really going on between these two characters. In the backstory, a young man drowned in the quarry of the title, and he drowned in front of his girlfriend, who's one of the characters that we follow. And then the point of view of the story is from his younger brother. And they're both, handling their grief, but they're kind of doing it together, at least in this story. And then that's juxtaposed by the few times that you see this young man's dad, and who's kind of insulating himself and rejecting everybody around him. And just that juxtaposition really highlights how these two characters, these two teenagers, are handling their grief in maybe a healthier way. The
silver lining of this book is what I'm hearing.
The first few pages of the story were a little confusing to me, but it kind of was like it was kind of like a flashback, and it's kind of explained later in the story. Just the way that you see, like, the actions that you see happening are like, why are they doing this? What's going on? But I was drawn to this comic because of the art on the cover, and it shows these two teens from the story carrying this Christmas tree, and then it shows also this mischievous dog, and the interior pretty much is faithful to that cover. Like, it's about these two teens who are carrying something heavy, literally and figuratively. It's got this dog in it, and then there are these little moments of whimsy that are kind of I don't know, surprising, lightning in comparison to the topic of the story. And they're used really well, those moments. And then also this book uses sound effects and like the pathways through the panel to show movement. That's really cool. Like the sound effects kind of like come out of doorways, like they're partially cut off. The words or the size of the text will change to show how loud or overwhelming the sound in like a specific moment is. And then I think my favorite thing with the art is that these sound effects will be the sounds of the cars, but they're in the shape of the pathway that the car is making like through a single panel. So it's like showing you the movement of the car with the words of the sound effects. It's very cool. But then also you have pages that have no sound effects, and those are the pages that have this like overwhelming sense of grief. And it's kind of like the silence is emphasizing the absence of the person and not just the absence of sound. And it's only after like flipping through this book to like summarize my thoughts on these sound effects that I really realized just how impactful those pages with no sound effects are to the story as a whole. And then also color is used really effectively, like particularly to show light. Like most of the book is set at night, so it's all like different shades of blues. It could almost be like a one color book in that way, like it's all blues, but then the use of other colors is very effective. Like the end of the book shows the sun coming up, and the use of yellows to show light on those last couple of pages is really striking and beautiful, and like adds to like the bittersweet feeling at the end of the story. Like it's used really well.
Now you said the creators are from West Michigan. Is the book set there as well, or is it kind of a nondescript? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is. It's set in Traverse City, which is up in like the top northwest corner of the lower peninsula of Michigan.
We call it the Pinky Cake. Come on, you can say it to the listeners. Yeah. It's fine.
And I was trying to figure out exactly where this quarry was. Like I got in Google Maps, and I was
sure.
It mentions
Kate's like trying to solve the murder.
Kate's like, this is weird, deviant behavior, and I'm like, this is immediately what I would do. Kate's like, I hope I didn't get into this too much. I'm like, this is 100% the playbook.
Yeah, this is exactly what Nick would do. Like,
yeah.
I'm doing the street view where I've got like the little like 360 view, and I'm like, I'm playing GeoGuessr. No, go ahead.
Yeah, where did they steal this Christmas tree from? Yeah.
That's great. I'm looking up to see if Marvin Luna, who did the art on this book, is looking to see if other work that he'd done, because it looks great just from the cover alone. Like this feels like the kind of style of graphic novel that I would like fall into and really enjoy just from the art alone. But looks like he's kind of just a freelancer who does some books, some comics sometimes. But yeah, lives in West Michigan, went to Kendall College of Art.
Yeah.
Where, plenty of people I think we all know have gone to school there. Rest in peace. I think that university is closing. But anyways, we'll talk about that in the post credits. But Kate, thank you for bringing this to our attention, because I think even though I'm a Jersey boy now, Michigan will forever be where I'm born, okay? Or where I was born. And I love seeing stuff that's tied into Michigan, because, I think we all, as people who live in that state, or lived in that state for a while, like we know, like if someone's going to talk about Michigan, they need to get it right or else.
What is the New Jersey citizenship test? Do you watch The Sopranos with the director's commentary and then like they immediately...
Well, no, what happens is they stick a thing in your ear, and if they hear music from The Boss playing, then they'll like, oh, okay. It's like...
yeah. There you go.
Listen, I'm gonna just completely tangent. I saw a TikTok of what's his name? Oh my god, why am I thinking of
James Gandolfini?
Not James Gandolfini.
Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce Springsteen. Sorry, I didn't know
which New Jersey reference we were. No, I saw out of.
a video of Bruce Springsteen putting on a concert for Christmas, and he was singing Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and I sent the TikTok to Kelly, and I was like, I think I understand why people love Bruce Springsteen now, because it was perfect. His voice is perfect for that song, right? And I forgot that the guy who was in Sopranos is also in his band and has been in his band for his whole, like the entirety of the band, Bruce Springsteen band. E Street Band or whatever. So it's very funny to me, because it all ties back to Sopranos no matter what we do. But anyways, we're not here to talk about New Jersey. We're talking about Michigan. Kate, thank you for bringing this to our attention. This sounds like a great book, even though it sounds sad, but like I love a good sad book.
Kait, is it like a bonus borrow, or is this just a normal borrow?
I was looking for something a little bit unusual. Like I didn't want to read Klaus for like the third Christmas episode in a row.
Thank you. We appreciate that, honestly.
Yeah,
I love
you.
Klaus, but like, there are other holiday comic books.
Yeah. So Hoopla actually has two different sections for Christmas. They have like a kids Christmas section, and then they have this offbeat Christmas section, which is all like horror and like sad comics. They didn't just have adult Christmas comics.
Okay.
But I found that under there. Yeah.
Nice. Very nice. Nick, you want to tell us how you've been? What you've been reading, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Things have been all right. There's been just an uncomfortable sense of calm this year because I feel like most of my shopping is done. So I'm just really waiting for the other Christmas themed slipper to drop, I guess you could say. That person that I forgot about or something. I don't know. Mm-hmm. There's somebody on that list that I thought I checked twice, but we'll find out.
I feel like, Nick, you are the type of person who around holidays, not year round, but around the holidays, you dress like Ebenezer Scrooge with the full, like the whole gown and striped, button up shirt and pants and stuff and slippers that match and the big hat stocking thing that goes on your head. I can totally see you.
Every morning I go upstairs and I push open the windows and I just start shrieking about how it's Christmas. And
every day you get upstairs, you yell out to the neighborhood boy who's shoveling.
Let me tell you, there is a new clause in the HOA that has, it's not fair. I feel singled out. Just a weird coincidence. Apparently you can't do that anymore.
Oh, well, I'm sorry that times are changing for you. But
who's the real Scrooge now? Is what I wrote in my letter. And then they fined me $50. So Merry Christmas. Yeah, I did get some reading done. I feel like people are going to think that this is just a real easy gimme read for me, but like, let me tell you, I actually hadn't read this yet. And that would be Hellboy, A Christmas Underground. There are several different ways to read this if anyone's interested. It's in Trade Volume 3, if you read by trade. It's in Omnibus Short Stories Volume 2, if you read with Omnis. And if you don't have access to either of those, I'm sure either it's in you can get any of those in that new Humble Bundle right now. Let's date the episode. But it's also free on Comixology Unlimited. So if you have CU, you can just look up A Christmas Underground and there it is. This is written by in art by Mike Mignola, letters by Pat Brousseau, colors by James Sinclair, cover by Gary Gianni, and color separations by Dave Stewart. A couple names there you might not immediately notice or some kind of quirkiness, but we'll get into that just in a moment. But yeah, this is one of several kind of Christmas-esque books that we've gotten from the Hellboy verse. In addition to this Christmas special, the franchise has also released a yearly Hellboy winter special. They did that from 2016 to 2019 and also in 2023. There's also two informally regarded additional entries if you want to read Hellboy Krampusnacht and also Hellboy and the BPRD, the Seven Wives Club. Both of those have Adam Hughes on art, and I believe they won an Eisner? I believe there was an Eisner for Krampusnacht. I had to remember which one it was. So yeah, clearly like Mike Mignola really loves the holidays for some reason. Like he's never done an anthology around Hellboy spring or Hellboy, fall. So clearly he's got some, interesting feelings about the holiday. And I just weirdly stumbled upon this now because I've been slowly making my way downtown, walking fast. Anyway, sorry, it was there. I took it. I've been working my way through all the Hellboy, omnibuses in order, and I've saved the short stories for once I'm done with the main volumes. And of course, this story, lo and behold, is tucked all the way in the last one. So I wasn't going to find it. Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten to it for a pretty long time. But yeah, I want to talk about a few things with the credits that I find kind of interesting. First, this is written in 97, which means you are getting Mike Mignola drawing the book. This, of course, would kind of stop around 06, 07 when he started getting more busy with other obligations, including the films. So it's nice to have him on art. You also have Dave Stewart, not yet the colorist, only doing the color separations. Obviously, the colorist role on Hellboy is kind of a Highlander sort of thing. There literally can only be one, and you just keep that role until someone else dethrones you. So Dave was not quite there yet.
Nick, I think I would give an unreasonable amount of money for you to sit down with Mike Mignola, Dave Stewart, and just like hash out all of these things that you have made up to be like, did Dave like kill somebody to get this role? Like, what happened here?
James Sinclair, are you okay?
Yeah.
Does anyone know what's going on with James?
Right. I'm gonna have to get a Photoshop version of like put your head on Charlie Day's body and just have pictures of Hellboy in the background with the big red yarn thing. I think that's my 2026 goal. But anyways, I'm sorry. Continue.
That's the goal. We're gonna get them all on the show, and it's gonna be probably pretty uncomfortable. And at some point, someone's gonna throw a chair. Mike Mignola's gonna hit me with a chair. The thing I do find really interesting that I think I have not seen anywhere else, and if anybody wants to go down a crazy rabbit hole on this, go ahead, because if you don't, I'm going to do it. I feel like this is the only time I've seen a Hellboy book that's written and drawn by Mike Mignola that actually does not have a Mike Mignola cover. Weirdly enough, the cover is by Gary Gianni, who did the graphic novel Hellboy Into the Silent Sea. And if you want a really weird, interesting credit, the dude was drawing the Prince Valiant newsprint strip for 8 years. I mean, isn't that a weird little, like, by the way, I also, you don't see many like comic book creators that are also like, dabbling in newsprint strips. I find that fascinating.
That is weirdly changing. But again, I'm putting that in the post credits. We're going to talk about Caroline Cash, I think, but keep going.
Yeah. So I just found that so I'm going to look at some point, but when you have Mike drawing a book, you have Mike drawing the cover. So I just found that bizarre, but Gianni's cover, I think, really fits. I actually think it's perfect for the book. So, I'm sure that was a Mike call, anyway. In terms of the story itself, it does feel a little more solitary than some of his other short stories, which kind of makes sense. It takes place about a whole 5 years before the modern day setting of Hellboy Seed of Destruction. Also, in terms of like the grand publication history of the franchise, it arrives basically only about 3 years after the first Hellboy issue shows up. So the story couldn't really rely on just dozens and dozens of little narrative hooks that they could go back to, because there weren't really that many at the time. And I think it's just kind of perfect for that. The story is, like I said, it's relatively short. It's only 24 pages. It's unmoored from any reading prereqs. It's pretty simple. And so while there's not much in the way of spoilers or surprises, I'll try to keep the narrative brief. It's Christmas Eve in 1989, and Hellboy is summoned to Hatch House in England. The matriarch of the family is dying, and she has a request for Hellboy. Her daughter disappeared from the family home 5 years ago. But not long before then, the daughter was known to wander, quote, out alone at night into the cemetery, and there are stones in that place older than any Christian grave. Not good, guys. If you're going to do your late night wandering, pick a public park. I mean, just stay in your yard, okay? Like, don't go to the nearby ancient druid cemetery. Just a thought.
Sure.
So the mother wants Hellboy to locate her daughter and give her this little tin box that's resting on her mantelpiece. That's pretty much it. Of course, he agrees, and he begins his investigation, of course, by going to said cemetery. It does neatly wrap itself up 20 or so pages later. And I'm sure some people are going to say that it lacks some of the more outward visual elements of Christmas. Somebody might even say, is it really a Christmas story? Which, like, how high are you setting the bar at that point, guys? Like, right. Come on. Like, does Santa need to show up and, like, recite Jingle Bells for 5 pages? I don't fucking know. But look, there's snow in England, which is pretty much a Christmas miracle if you live in the South to some extent. And there's a really nice little clever but brief cameo of an established Yuletide character that I quite enjoyed. So I think that's fine. I would say thematically, I don't think you could get more Christmas. Like the holiday themes of homecoming, reunion, reconciliation, forgiveness, grace, all of the things everybody keeps telling me are so great and I just keep ignoring. Mm-hmm. They ring as true as sleigh bells. I wrote that yesterday. It's pretty shit, isn't it? In this quaint little tale, none of it's sappy or preachy or contrived, but you also really wouldn't expect to see any of that here anyway. So yeah, check it out. There's a lot of different ways to get your hands on this, and at any time you have anything drawn by Mike Mignola, it doesn't just check it out. It doesn't matter. I've said it before, you can white out all the stupid ass panels and the captions and you're gonna have an amazing fucking time. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm looking at this right now. That cover, like you said, it's really good. Like it's unbelievably really good. I actually don't know if I would have preferred a Mike cover for this because of the way that Gary Gianni like portrays this black and white style. Like it's so good. It works so well for the vibe that I'm guessing this book delivers when you read it. So wow, that's crazy stuff.
It looks like almost like a wood block. It looks like a wood block print drawing out of like one of those like 1880s or 1890s like children's books, like Wind in the Willows or something, like, and it just feels so cozy at the same time. I completely agree. Mike is perfect. Don't get your, don't get high on your own supply here, Mike. I'm talking about,
I understand, I mean. But like
I think for this,
this
is perfect.
Exactly. Man, I want to get a hold of one of these comics. This book just by itself looks really good. It's rare to see a Hellboy cover that is all white, right? Like usually it's all blacks and reds and browns, but this one is like a completely white cover with just the red Hellboy. I mean, folks, look this up. It's beautiful, and it's got the old Dark Horse logo. Like, anyways, this is like good comic book shit as far as I'm concerned. But I'm going to stop lauding this book because I just want to check it out. I'm going to get my hands on it somehow. So I'm going to go straight to eBay after this episode. But before...
Nick has presented me with 3 fairly easy paths to reading this book, and I'm going to take the hardest fucking one. Not even listen. Guys, I'm bidding on a $70 copy right now.
Wait, is that... hold on. Nick and I we just went up to 71. I'm going to put it up to 72. Anyways, I also read some comics. It's been a crazy week. I like completely forgot about Christmas at all. Like my family celebrates, and I feel like this past couple weeks has been insane, just with like having to figure out buying a new car and moving things around in my house constantly. A friend of ours is storing some things in my house as well while they are trying to figure out their living situation, and so it means just like there's just been a lot of moving parts, and completely forgot about this holiday. I definitely thought it was next week. Like in my head I was like, oh, Thanksgiving was on the last Thursday of the month, and therefore Christmas is going to be on the last Thursday of this month if it doesn't fall on the same day every year. So I haven't been like fully in the spirit of things, but I did manage to get my Christmas tree up finally and the stockings in our house so the cats can get their stockings, opened on Christmas Day. That's the most important part. But I did sit down and read a comic that meets this theme. I was going to go actually and read some more Donald Duck comics. I think that'll probably be my plan this week as I'm trying to watch 7 Christmas movies leading up through Christmas. So like I watched Home Alone 1 last night. The night before I watched The Baltimoreans, which if you guys haven't seen that, go watch The Baltimoreans. It is one of the funniest, like just down to earth movies I've seen in a long time. I've had a really good time with it. I could definitely see someone taking away some like not so great vibes from it, but I thought it was really good.
Now, do you have a scheduled curated list, or is it we're doing this for 7 nights and whatever we land on at that point, that's what we're like? Is this curated or?
It is semi-curated in the sense that our plan is to round out Christmas Day with a double feature of National Lampoon's Christmas and A Christmas Story. That's like the tradition that we have in this house. Otherwise, it's kind of like roll the dice. What Christmas movie sounds good? Anything. Most Christmas movies are like 90 to 100 minutes, which is perfect. So it's like finish dinner, sit down, watch a movie, chill out on our phones for an hour and then go to bed. So like I think like we landed on Home Alone last night because it was kind of just, what are we thinking that's going to be quick and easy? And we just watched My Cousin Vinny a week or so ago. I was like, hey, let's get some Joe Pesci in this house.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a lot of fun. I don't know what we're going to land on tonight, but it'll probably be something super short, just because of scheduling. Probably scheduling. I have D&D tonight. That's going to run late, so we'll probably watch The Grinch, just because that's like 20 minutes and it's easy. But yeah, we'll see. It is very vibes based. There's a chance we may watch Fast and the Furious 3, not a Christmas movie, but that's a whole other thing. Anyways, I did read comics. Sorry, we're here to talk about comic books. Happily, I will talk about Christmas movies in the post show. I read this book called Dread the Halls. It's this horrible looking book that has an interesting cover. And horrible in a good way, right? If you like horror, maybe pick this up. Maybe don't. I've got some thoughts. But this is a series. I think it's the second issue in like a continuing series. They did a book last year called Dread the Hall H, or Dread Hall H, or something like that, which is like a Comic-Con thing. This is done by Jordan Hart and Chris Ryall with a handful of different artists. This year they had Luana Vecchio, Lee Ferguson, Keithan Jones, Walter Pax, and Fabio Veras on the various stories in here. There's 5 little books or stories in here. It's like a $6.99 collection. It's nice and thick. For those of you who are watching the video on Patreon, you can see it's got that like classic image, like extra bound thing. Yeah, the 5 stories in this are fine. This is an overall like fine little thing. Solid 3 out of 5, mostly because there are 2 really good stories and 2 mediocre ones and 1 not so great one. And you know, that to me gives us a solid 3 out of 5 because the 2 good ones on the bookend of this thing were really good. It looked really fun. I love a themed anthology. I think anthologies have been kicking ass this year, so I was like, why not try one from Image Comics? The EC Comics ones have been really good. Twilight Zone has been fantastic. I'm like, let's see what Image has to offer, and it turns out it's just fine. I will say, to talk about the middle stories that I wasn't a huge fan of, the first story that I in there is Chains Forged in Life. This is by Chris Ryall and art by Lee Ferguson. It's a retelling of like A Christmas Carol, but Scrooge is like a conservative radio show host, big, huge asshole. Yeah. It's got modern day edginess and attitude. It doesn't care what the
subtle allegory.
Yeah, it's basically like, it doesn't matter what you do, these ghosts are not going to scare this guy. He doesn't learn his lesson. It's like, I don't know, what's the point on that? It's like a twist on a classic. Fine, whatever. Everyone, again, I'm not trying to spoil these so that you don't read this. You should go read this. It's kind of fun. But anyways, The Alp was the next one. This one was written by Jordan Hart with art by Walter Pax, and it may have been the best in show. Honestly, it's the best looking book I think in here, or story in here. It's about this little boy. I guess the reason why it was like almost best in show but not was because it doesn't end in a way that I was like, oh, that was a way to round that out. It kind of just stops, like they ran out of pages. It's very weird. But it's about a young boy who finds a box locked deep within a forest where his dad and him had moved out to the country to get away from things. And the voice is asking him to free it. He says, sure. And there's a wooden elf inside who seems keen on being friends with the boy. But the boy's like, oh, well, my dad doesn't like strangers, so like you should sleep outside. And then things just start to get dark and nefarious, and in ways that I'm like, hell yeah, this is exactly like the Leprechaun. This is exactly like Chucky, right? This is like a little guy shows up and bad shit starts happening, and that rules. Honestly, Walter Pax's art in this is so good. Walter Pax's art is so good in this. I really, really cannot express like how visceral and scary it was. Like it really kind of rubs you the wrong way. It's all black and white except for a handful of colors. And I think that the choices they made to make this look kind of scary were really, really great. They don't highlight the gore. They highlight other stuff. And I was like, I'm thinking of Sleep that's coming out right now from Image, where the color is very important. I really, really liked the way that was done. Unfortunately, it ends in an unsatisfying way, at least for me. So if you read this, I'd love to hear your thoughts. The other one that was in here, another one in the middle, The Martians Conquer Santa Claus, which feels like a Nickelodeon cartoon short brought to life. This is, I don't know. This is by Chris Ryall and art by Keithan Jones. I feel like this is a continuation from last year's issue. So like there's some context here about how the warlike Martians don't allow Santa Claus to deliver presents to their planet, but this year they've decided that they will. But there's a twist, and the twist is stupid. It's, I don't know, the ending is really goofy, and I feel like it's not a horror story. It's just like an action comedy, which doesn't fit the vibe of the rest of this book, because everything else in this book is a horror story in some way. So the middle ones are fine, but the first and last stories of this book were great. Yule, this is by Jordan Hart, with art by Luana Vecchio, is basically like a Hallmark movie, but like where a woman shows up to this town called Christmasdale, and she meets a nice young man because her car slides off the road, and he's like, oh, well, your car's damaged. They're not going to be able to fix it because of the holiday. Why don't you stay in my barn? And she's like, haha, that's kind of weird. And he's like, yeah, I promise, this town is super safe. And it is super safe. Until it's not. And I really like the way that they turned it from like this cheesy holiday thing into like something else. And I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was really good. Plus the art is incredible in here. Luana Vecchio does an incredible job. I was reminded of like an Adam Hughes almost. It's so funny that you talked about that, because there's just detail in this book where it looks really good. Like, I don't know. And you know, the guy that she's in love with, he's got a big old beard, and everyone's name is Chris and Noel and all this other shit. And I'm just like, oh my God, they knock every single Hallmark checkbox off, and it's so good. So that one is great. And I think the best story in here for me was Counting Days, the last story in the anthology. It's a really screwy and dark story about a man who receives a mysterious advent calendar full of delectable chocolate, and his life suddenly becomes better every day. He's eating a single piece of this chocolate and everything's going well. There's a twist obviously in here, right? But it was very Twilight Zone-esque, and you know, the mysterious ending comes really abrupt, but in such a like dark, satisfying way, the way that you want one of these like anthology horror stories to go. And I was like, this is what I wanted. This one story is what I really wanted the whole book to be. But I think Yule and Counting Days, just perfect anthology stories. Everything else, middle of the road, if maybe leaning towards the worst side of things. But overall, I think this was worth $6.99, right? Those EC collections are $8.99 each, if I'm not mistaken. So for $7, you're getting really like 72 pages. Yeah. It's super worth it. I had a lot of fun. I'll probably check out another one of these next year if they do another one. I just hope, you know, it's all bangers instead of just two. So, yeah. Nick, you said you saw this book and you were thinking about reading it, right?
Yeah. I had definitely like sort of put it on a list as a short list for something to get around to. So it's nice to have some feedback on it. I mean, yeah. I think ultimately, I think the real silver lining that we can take away from this is just that we're reaching a point now, especially within the last year, where anthologies are not only, you know, back in force, but it's not just like where we're at a point where we're just like, oh, we're so happy to see like any sort of anthology that we'll just take whatever. Like, no, we're at a point now where we're starting to be like, there's so many that these ones are good and these ones are maybe not as good. And so,
well, hold on. Let's take a step back, because I think that anthologies have existed for a while, but they've pretty much been on the okay side for a while, right? I think it's not until the last year or two where we've seen them like go, oh, there's like some really good anthologies. Because like Kickstarter, there have been Kickstarter anthologies for a while, and I've backed many of them that have been just fine. But I feel like there has been something that's changed in the water recently, where like people are really putting their entire selves into these stories, and whether it's 8 pages or 12 pages or whatever, we're actually getting new takes and interesting takes that aren't just filling pages for the sake of filling pages. And I'm not trying to like knock on this book, but there was like, it does feel like some of the stories are not holistically great. And I probably need to read all the EC collections before I like say that they're all great, because I haven't read all of them. I'm looking forward to getting my collection later next year. But yeah, it feels like we're on an upswing, right, with those. And I hope that we keep in that direction, because I think they're great for the industry in general. But sorry to completely steal your point, Nick.
No, I think ultimately what's helped lately is just the fact that major publishers and major creators are sort of contributing to these things, which I think helps a lot. Sure. I mean, we could have a much, much longer discussion about how sometimes the anthology has sort of served its purpose as a good sort of entry point for newcomers to the industry, and whether or not things like EC are serving that role, and whether they should or shouldn't. That's a whole episode in its own right. But regardless, they've just been so good this year, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's going in the post credits. Yeah, we have to move on. We're gonna talk about books on the top of our pile, whether they're new or old or something we just want to get off of our shelves. I want to shout out folks hanging out with us live today. Danny, our proof listener for this episode, is reading a comic book next, The Will of Doom #1. Marvel seems to be all in on Dr. Doom. what am I doing not getting caught up? But Danny seems excited about it, so I'll wait for his review on Next Issue Podcast to see if it's any good. Let me kick things over to Nick. What is on the top of your pile this week?
So for me, it's going to be American Caper #2. This is a continuation of a series that I think just began last month. The creator and writer is Dan Houser of Grand Theft Auto fame. He was one of the co-founders of Rockstar Games. He was the writer and I think lead narrative designer on pretty much everything they did from like, I think Vice City onwards. I might not be 100% on this. All the way through, I think, Red Dead Redemption 2. And then he left in 2020 and founded this company called Absurd Ventures, which, I'll just get into a second. I think, you've got some other really big names involved with this book, which helps. Laszlo was producing and did the additional writing. Laszlo is like this radio personality who basically got brought in with Rockstar. He hosted, I think, the big fictional radio station within the Grand Theft Auto games, and he did a lot of the writing for that, amongst other things. You've got David Lapham on story layouts and pencils, Lee Lowridge on colors, Nate Picos on letters, Tyler Boss doing covers. Really, 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 really great team. I think the only thing that just immediately kind of scares me there, and maybe this is like non-big two elitism, but like when I see anyone doing finishes these days, I just get kind of scared. Like, okay. I like David is a very busy guy. Obviously, he's doing Good as Dead right now. Maybe one of these two projects, either Good as Dead or American Caper, was like fully done in advance, although I think both are technically ongoing. So I guess I just bottom line don't know how David is doing all the work, although I guess the answer is right here. He has someone doing finishes for him. Who knows? But I just, sometimes I have flashbacks to like some big two books I read where it's like, this book has 3 pencilers and 2 colorists and two different people doing the letters. And it's like, oh God. And I wake up in a cold sweat. I don't love it. I don't love it.
We love seeing a book that's got 7 inkers on it, right? That's
oh God. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think the biggest thing right out of the gate is just I'm shocked I didn't hear more about this book. Maybe it's just that I'm not as like eternally tapped into every single plug and post and every artist's Insta drop that exists out there. But like, I'm shocked that this book didn't somehow permeate its way into my broader like geek periphery. I don't know. It sort of came out of left field, but like, when you can be like from the creator, the writer of Grand Theft Auto, like that's just you're gonna take that. Like that's big. I think that's gonna at least click with a good amount of people. But yeah, this Houser guy, he founded this company called Absurd Ventures. It's a media, entertainment, and video game company. The goal is to build narrative worlds and create characters and writing stories for a diverse variety of genres without regard to medium, to be produced for live action and animation, video games, and other interactive content, blah, 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 blah. So clearly the guy's got his own IP farm. That's great. Good for you, Dan.
Yeah.
But what's this story actually about, right? So it centers around, at least for now, it sounds like we're going to be jumping between characters at some point. You have this lawyer named William Hamilton. He lives in Verona, Wyoming. I don't know if that's a real city. I should have looked that up. At a superficial glance, Hamilton seems to have it all, from the wife and the kids down to the luxury sedan and the large, if unremarkable, home. Massive emphasis on seems, because whatever image he's trying to curate, it rapidly crumbles under the faintest examination. How bad? Well, he's drowning in debt, an unhealthy cocktail of compounding student loans coupled with full tilt gambling obsession. Everything from sporting events, stocks, crypto, elections, he's doing it. And the firm that he works for has offices in all of these wonderful big American cities, but this guy's stuck out in the middle of Wyoming, mostly due to his, financial predicament, and just generally the firm considers him a liability. But he really can't hope for anything better given his situation. And the firm itself, their specialty is hiding money, of course. Hiding money from all levels of government, from children, from angry wives, from businesses. It's not great. Can you sense a theme?
I mean, this sounds like Grand Theft Auto to me, Nick.
Oh, it does it?
Listen, it's very interesting that the creator of Grand Theft Auto, or one of the workers on Grand Theft Auto, is suddenly doing a Grand Theft Auto story. I mean, I'm looking at the American Caper website on absurdventures.com.
Right.
This reads like a pitch for Grand Theft Auto, so like it's something about this almost trusts the absurdity of the story, because I'm like, I love the satire of Grand Theft Auto, so like I got to imagine that it's heavy in this series.
Right. I mean, like, in terms of his family, right? His wife, like, basically spends every day just downing fast food and reading QAnon thought pieces in equal number. She hates basically almost every social demographic out there. She wants the state of Wyoming to secede, and she sleeps with a semi-automatic rifle cuddled in her arms and wearing combat boots. Okay?
Cool.
His kids, his daughter is the absolute opposite end of the spectrum. She's got a green mohawk. She attends every protest. She wants to defund everything. You get the idea. And the son might be getting red-pilled, but we're not sure because the kid doesn't really want to do anything with his dad, and he's too obsessed with questionable male power fantasies, right? Yeah. So it's like kind of funny, kind of fun, definitely not escapist. Like, not like personally, right? Like, this isn't my family, but it's certainly not like escapist for America writ large, right?
Right.
So, you know, meanwhile, like, the big whole plot of this book is that Hamilton's boss is on his ass. He needs them to fast track suing the FDA so that construction can continue on a nearby resort.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool. He's not the lawyer he like dreamed of becoming, but it's really the only one he can be at this point. And of course, this involves just being entangled in all sorts of shady people that have no problem with him being their pawn. Like, overall, the first issue for me kind of feels a little fence sitting in the tradition of South Park, right? Everybody is dumb, everybody is stupid, everybody is self-absorbed, everyone has bad ideas, everybody's delusional, which, like, sometimes they're on the mark, and sometimes it promotes a false equivalency, like, between the fallibility of opposing viewpoints. And I think this book is no different in some respects. But I do think Hauser, and like what you were getting at, Mike, in terms of like a satire, it's always fascinating to look at writers from the British Isles' perspectives on America, because like it's always America not just dialed up to 11, it's like America dialed up to like 92, right?
Yeah.
Guns are the easiest thing you could ever get in your hands. Fast food, you know, springs eternal, and it's on every, you know, there's a McDonald's every 200 feet, right? And you can see this in like the Grand Theft Auto games, right, where it's like the gun store is right next to the fast food store, and you just, you know, run into both and, you know, pay whatever. And I don't know, guys, I haven't played a Grand Theft Auto game since Grand Theft Auto 4, but I remember
you're right. No, it hasn't changed. It hasn't changed.
Yeah. But it's really interesting because when I think about that, and I think about Grand Theft Auto, and I think about Dan Houser's work here, the main thing I think of that really comes to mind as a parallel is Judge Dredd, where again, it's like this America, but it's like dialed up 700%, right?
Yeah.
Whether we're talking about guns or talking about the justice system or talking about conspicuous consumption of goods, or just the late stage capitalism, it's like dialed up, you know, all the way up.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of fun and fascinating in that regard. It's not uplifting. It's not escapist. It's definitely relatable.
Kate, I'm so excited for you to read this. And get your take.
This sounds like a Kate.
This feels like a book that I know you would love.
This is a Kate, like, I picked this book worried that Kate had already picked this book.
Okay, good.
I was like, is this going to fucking happen to me again?
Yeah.
another
Nick,
terrifying tale of American dystopia gets,
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. The only reason I was like, oh, this sounds a lot like, Grand Theft Auto in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the website pitch for it. I'm just like, oh, so you just lifted things. Like the thing that I love on this website is they've got this little slideshow, and it's like a degenerate lawyer, a Mormon hitman, a red-pilled housewife.
Oh, right. I totally
a Mexican
forgot.
beauty queen on the run.
Yeah.
A Wall Street billionaire turned wannabe cowboy, a maniac hell-bent on revenge. I'm like, come on, like, yes, like I'm in. This is stupid. I love this. What are you doing, dude?
I forgot. Of course, his neighbor is Mormon. The family, their family is seemingly perfect, right? And of course, this guy is coveting the Mormon guy's wife, right? And of course.
The thing is, again, if you had not given me the context of this being from the Grand Theft Auto guy, I would have been like, this sounds stupid. I've seen 100 of these comics. They all read really piss poor. Image publishes half of them. Like, there's no way that this is good. But knowing the stupidity of Grand Theft Auto, I'm like, okay, maybe I can believe this. Maybe I'd be able to buy into this. So interesting choice, Dark Horse.
Right. For me, like, I am cautiously ready to give this a second issue. The only thing I will say about the art briefly is, like, it doesn't look completely like Lapham, and I think there's something in the finishes that almost make the art more detailed or too detailed compared to what I would expect from Lapham. But that said, like, I'm still cautiously interested enough that I'm going to pick up the second issue just because again, it's not escapist, but it does feel like it's somebody at least being like, seeing what we're going through and being like, this is kind of funny. Can you laugh at this a little? Maybe.
I
don't know.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I'm at least a little interested in this. I think, again, had we not talked about this, I would have just looked over this book and not thought about it twice. So very interesting. But we've got to stop talking about it so I can go read it. Instead, Kait, tell us what is on the top of your pile this week, please. I was so surprised when I saw the notes this week.
Yeah. This is like the opposite of the book that Nick was talking about. I have All-Star Superman on my top of my pile to read. This is by Grant Morrison with art by Frank Quietly and colors by Jamie Grant and Neil Adams. And this is Jeff's pick for the 2025 Reading Challenge. And it's the last book that I need to complete for it. And it's so close to the end of the year, you guys.
Hey, you know what? This is perfect. You round out with probably one of the best comics on the list, right?
All right, great. There's actually a completed edition on Hoopla that collects issues 1 through 12. So Jeff was like, you guys should read volume 1. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to read all of it.
Yeah, I've got my little pocket edition here, right? You know, it's amazing.
So Kait actually made the challenge harder than it was.
I'm like, I'll actually read more in the 8 days left of the year. Yeah. The description for this book, at least for this collection on Hoopla, is not really giving me a whole lot, but I've heard that this is like the story of Superman kind of like from the beginning, you see his whole like coming out to Lois and everything. Somehow this turned into a queer story instead of a superhero story in that description, but metaphors. Okay. But I don't read a lot of Kait books on my own. Like, I'm not really drawn to them. And I've kind of been I don't know, medium about them. Like I like some and I the ones that I don't like, I really don't like. Especially event books. Not that this is an event book, but the Superman stories in particular that people specifically recommend to me or for the Reading Challenge have like checked out for me in the past. They've all been really good, and I've heard a lot of good things about this book, All-Star Superman in particular. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm so pumped for you to read this, if only because I'm so surprised that you haven't read this. I know you said you don't read a lot of Kait books, but like this is one of those quintessential books that like we've been pushing on this show, I think, since it started. And it's very surprising just because this is on so many best of lists, right? And not to say you only read those, but like, you know, we all try to check them out every year. And I feel like this book is consistently at the top of like, what are some of the best DC stories you could ever read? So I'm so pumped for you to get through this, Kait, because I think I think you will be surprised like how perfectly Grant Morrison ties the story of like hope and pins it on this character, Superman, right? You could have done this with a plethora of other characters, but to do it with Superman, it feels like it is a perfect union of things. So I'm very excited to see, because I just reread this very recently for a different book club earlier this year, and I'm just like, oh, right, there is a reason why this is so well regarded. It's not just because it's Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely, it's because it's genuinely some of the best DC comics out there.
Okay. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
I liked I like Superman as a character. I like the movie that came out this year, and I've liked the other books I've read, so I'm excited for this one.
Kate, have you read anything else drawn by Frank Quitely? Because he's definitely he's for instantly identifiable.
Yeah. Not that comes to my mind.
Okay.
I think years ago I may have asked you to read We Three. That might be the other book that you read that Quitely did, if I'm not mistaken.
I did read that one. That was good.
Yeah. Even though it's dark, it's very good. Anyways, Kate, you're gonna have to let me know.
Okay.
When I see you in person very soon. More to come.
Oh no, I have to finish it by then.
You must. You have to.
Yeah.
There will be a quiz.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure we're gonna go through each issue and we're gonna talk about it piece by piece. But let me round us out here today with, funny enough, another Grant Morrison book.
So there's a theme, not just on this this episode, on this show. I think we're a Grant Morrison show, you guys.
I think we're a Grant Morrison show. We've been a Grant Morrison show for a while, but yeah, I am finally gonna sit down and read Batman Deadpool. And give me a moment. I'm going to go through all the credits on this fucking book, because if they're going to put all these people on this book, I'm going to talk about it and I have thoughts. So this is written by Grant Morrison with art by the incredible Dan Mora, colors by Alejandro Sanchez with letters by Todd Klein. And inside there are 4 other stories. Hellblazer and Doctor Strange, written by James Tynion IV, Joshua Williamson, and Scott Snyder with art by Hayden Sherman, colors by Mike Spicer with letters by Frank Sitevik. Nightwing x Laura Kinney, Wolverine, written by Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo, colors by Adriana Lucas, letters by Wes Abbott. Harley Quinn and the Hulk, written by Mariko Tamaki, art by Amanda Connor, colors by Tamara Bonvillain, letters by David Sharp. Static and Miss Marvel, written by G. Willow Wilson, pencils by Dennis Cowan, inks by Klaus Janson, colors by Francesco Segala, and letters by Steve Wands. The hype train is finally arriving at my station. I know this book has been out for a while. I just picked it up, and I talked to my guys, the 2 guys at the local comic book shop about this, and they were like, yeah, the Marvel one sucked. This one rules. And I was like, yeah, it's fucking Grant Morrison and Dan Mora working together on another book. Like, it's a winner right away. I'm excited, if only because I know that there's a lot of hype about this. And the thing that I'm confused about is I don't understand why the Hellblazer and Doctor Strange story has 3 writers, right? Like, these are 3 massively established writers, like James Tynion IV, Joshua Williamson, and Scott Snyder. What could they possibly be doing together on a story that's a backup? I don't understand. Did they just want to get paid? Did they just want to get connected to this? None of them have written Doctor Strange or Hellblazer enough that I'm aware of. I know that they've all probably dabbled and touched, but like, why was Cy Spurrier not the immediate choice for this? It's Hellblazer bullshit, and it's Doctor Strange. Like, the person who can do the weird the way that we probably want is Cy Spurrier. Why was he not put on this book? I'll never understand. I'm always going to be mad about it, even if this story is good. The rest, all the other mashups make sense though. As far as creative teams, I think that's great. I guess the thing that I'm most surprised by is that I haven't had anything spoiled about this, because I know they're doing more Marvel stuff. Maybe I'm just not on the side of the internet that spoils comics for me, or maybe it's because I just find it hard to watch most influencers, TikTokers, YouTube people, with the exception of our good pal Danny, talk about comic books, because they spoil things in ways that are like really annoying. Or some people do, right? Where they'll just be like, did you know that Batman licked Deadpool's butt in this issue? And I'm like, what is happening? Why did you spoil like the big twist of this? I've had that happen. Like when X-Men, when TMNT The Last Ronin came out, someone spoiled it immediately. The first issue was out, and the first thing I saw was so-and-so is The Last Ronin. And I was like, what? I haven't even read this book.
The number one, like, yeah, exactly. Like the big hook of perfect.
So
yeah.
I think I just am anti-internet influencers talking about comics, which is bad for the industry. It's very bad. We need influencers. That's the only reason like things are popular. But I like for some reason, folks just really want to destroy any suspense and interest in comic books.
Like, folks, it's a 22-page book. Like, if I want to sit down and read it and it sucks, I'll figure that out, and it won't take me 9 hours. I'll figure it out in like the 10 minutes required. Okay, just let me have those 10 minutes.
Then why do people listen to the show? Is this the whole reason I started IRCB in the first place? Is because I couldn't stand anyone else out there talking about comic books. I just wanted it to be me. I don't know. Here I am.
Everyone else is wrong, and we are right. Yeah, exactly.
Pivoting to an influencer show, and it's just going to be like, what's up, guys? We're here to talk about the latest Superman, Batman. Anyways, so I'm very excited to read this. It's a big fat comic book that's sitting on the shelf behind me. So I've got my copy, Deadpool, Batman, sitting here. Anyways, very excited. That's it. I think that's where we're going to wrap up the show. If you are a Patreon supporter, you can listen to us talk about, let me check my list, Dark Horse Imprints, comic strips and comic book folks, aka Caroline Cash, big names on comic book anthologies. We're going to be talking about all that stuff, and you can get access to it for as little as $2 a month. Patreon.com/IRCB podcast. I think that's where we're going to wrap, though. So thank you to everyone listening. Thank you to Danny for proof listening. Thank you to Zander for editing. Thank you, Nick and Kate, for your time today. I hope you have a good Christmas if you celebrate, and if you celebrate something else, I hope you're having a good holiday in general, a good Yuletide, a good whatever. The sun's coming back. We're past the equinox. Light's coming back. I hope you have a good one. Thank you for listening, and until next time, comics are good, and so are you.